Hey guys, what's up? I'm Brian with Fishers Off-Road, and today we're going to be doing a ride along and a review on the brand new 2024 Yamaha Wolverine X2 1000 XTR Edition. This is a review that a lot of you have been asking for, so here we go. So we were at the Hatfield-McCoy Trail, I don't know, a few months ago, and that was really the maiden voyage for the X2 1000 for us. I have an RMAX 4 Limited, and this was going to be something totally different because that's a 4-seater. This is a 2-seater. You know, nice thing about this is you do have a dump bed. I was thinking, well, you know, it's going to kind of be like the X2 850. I love that machine, very reliable. We had 3 of them in our rental fleet a couple years ago, and we put 7,000 miles on them in about 5-6 months, and then we sold them. We rotate our fleet every 6 months, but we didn't have any problems out of them. They ran great. They served us well. There was a few things I would have liked to seen out of that machine, and they improved it and put it into this machine. One of them was the ride. This thing rides excellent. Got the ZF shocks, fully adjustable. Huge difference, because when we went to Hatfield-McCoy Trail, my wife and I were just like, man, I cannot even believe how good this thing is riding. The one thing that surprised me when they took the RMAX engine and put it in the X2 1000, I didn't think we would get as good of gas mileage as we did when we went to Hatfield-McCoy Trail. And we got great gas mileage out of this vehicle, which was surprising because honestly, we rode Rockhouse one day and then we rode to Braveheart the next day, and we didn't even put gas in it between the trails. It really does a good job on gas. I'm not sure what the numbers are as far as fuel mileage and everything, but man, oh day. And that's really going to depend how you drive the machine and throttle and everything. But you know, we weren't easy on it, but it definitely got good gas mileage. And another thing about the X2 1000 that I like, and I went this route, is the D mode switch. This is an option. It doesn't come with the unit. It comes in trail mode, but if you want to get the D mode switch, you can put it in crawl, you can do trail, and then if you really want to let her eat, you can put it in sport. Nice thing about all 3 of these modes is you're getting the same power. Your crawl mode, it's not like you don't have any power. It's not like you have the 25-mile-an-hour limiter switch on. It's just a little easier instead of like straight up with the torque. It's like just a little bit easier, more linear, just nice and steady. And the crawl is really nice if you are crawling, rock crawling, or you just, you know, want to take it easy and you don't have that pedal chop that we had at the X2 850, which that was another complaint I had on the X2 850 is you would get that pedal chop when you were trying to go low and slow and doing some creepy crawling, and it would drive me nuts. This machine, you don't have that at all, so that's another huge upgrade. A lot of times I just keep it in crawl. I think the machine just drives really nice in crawl mode for me, just my taste. Now if you're one of those kind of guys that you got to be 0 to 100 all the time, you can put it in sport mode. Everything on the inside, the touch points, it's like driving a car. Your steering wheel is like a soft touch steering wheel. It's like a rubber. So that way you don't have a plastic steering wheel that at the end of the day you're just fatigued, you're beat up. Little things like that really make the rider experience a lot better. And at the end of the day, you wanna feel like you had a good ride. You don't want to feel like you just got off of a bull from the rodeo and they just beat the crap out of you. I like the technical stuff. I really enjoy getting out and just challenging myself, challenging the machine, and seeing what we can do together. Man, I love to let the machine work. And for me, that's like the most fun, you know, when you can get out there and just really enjoy the trail that you're on and just the technical stuff. I love it. My wife doesn't love it. She hates it. She'll get out and walk, you know, and film me doing it, or walk and be like, yeah, I'll meet you at the top. You can forget that. But and you guys tell me what you think. Do you like the technical stuff? And I know some people are like, man, I like the dunes. I am hammered down. I'm throttle all the way, and that's cool. I was that way when I was young too. Whenever it comes down to comparing the X2 1000 to an RMAX, you could go get an RMAX. It's going to cost you more money. The X2 1000, a base model unit for 18 and XTR edition for 20 grand, as opposed to an RMAX, you know, you're going to start getting up in the price a little bit more, you know, a few $1,000s difference. You want all the bells and whistles, man, the RMAX is there. That's a great machine if you're a little bit more budget conscious, but you still want that same performance and handling, you know, the X2 1000 is an excellent option. One of my favorite things is how it's not so big. It's nimble and maneuverable. So we're going back through some trees and we're just kind of weaving our way in and out. And one of the nice things you'll notice when you get out on the trail is you can see. And that's a big part of off-roading is visibility. Like we can see over the hood, we can see to our left, we can see to our right, and if we are coming down a real steep hill and we go to come back up over, we can still see what we're going to, what's ahead of us going up the hill because of the roof line. Yamaha did a really good job of figuring out the cab so you're comfortable and you have really good visibility, because there's some machines where when you sit in them, you just can't see over the hood. A big upgrade on this machine over the prior X2 is the shocks. Fully adjustable ZF shocks, excellent ride. This is one of the things that we use our X2 1000 for the most here on our property. We don't just go trail riding, we also use it for work. And I actually had somebody ask me that in a question. I can't remember if it was Facebook or YouTube. And I answer a lot of people's questions back, and they wanted to know if I use it for work on our property, and we absolutely do. It has a 2,000 pound tow rating. This is a ATV wagon. It's a heavy duty wagon. You can put a lot of wood in this thing and haul a pretty good load. For the farmers and ranchers and hunters, and you can easily get up to 2,000 pounds pretty quick. If you're out west and you're elk hunting, you know, an elk's 1,000 pounds, you know, you get a good size one. We will hook our log splitter up to the back of it and we'll take it out to certain areas and we'll actually split the wood up and then we'll put it in the bed of the X2 1000, which it has 600 pound bed capacity. I would say it's a very beefy machine. If you get right down to it and you're looking at numbers as far as everything on this machine, man, I'm telling you what, you can work with this thing like no other. And then you can unhook your trailer or, you know, all your work and stuff and take it out and go trail riding. So it's very universal. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and that's one thing that we found with having the X2 for a few months now. And that's one of the things why we always wait to do a review, because we want to use it. You know, we just don't get it, take it out and do a lap around the property and then say, okay, here's what we think. You know, we really want to use this thing. We take it trail riding, we take it working, we do everything that we normally do with a machine, so that way we know all the pros and cons, and there may be something that we don't like in the beginning that maybe after using it for a couple weeks or a month or so, we end up liking it. We just really kind of give the machine a fair review. We don't want to come right out of the gate and be like, oh, we don't like this, and you know, this sucks, and this is great, and then you find out, you know, 3 months, 4 months into it that, I don't really like that, and I do like this. So that's why we wait a little bit longer to do a review. We just really want to test this machine out and give you a full, honest review. I personally think that Yamaha should have renamed this machine the Mountain Goat, because you put this thing in diff lock and it goes wherever you want it to, even hauling a load of wood. A lot of times when I'm testing a machine, I'll pick a line that I know is definitely not the correct line, and I do that to see what the machine will do. What can you get away with? You know, is it gonna lay over? Is it gonna get stuck? I just really like to test and challenge the machine. Now, a step down like this right here, you know, this is where your UHMWPE skids really come into play if you happen to touch it. I don't even think we touched it right there. I didn't even feel anything. But this right here, down through here, is a washout. So I'm gonna tuck my left tires down in here and we're gonna see what we can do as far as what we can get away with. How forgiving is the machine and the suspension? And that's always the question in my mind is, okay, now see right there, we started to feel the back end come up, and the best thing to do is kind of steer into it. Don't turn to the right and try and correct it, pull out of it. Steer into it so you're going into the bank. Those kind of things right there, if you're a new off-roader, they can kind of freak you out. You feel that back end coming up. To me, when I'm off-roading and I'm doing obstacles like this, I like going up better than going down, because I feel that it's a little bit more challenging. I like to pick my line a little bit different. We're gonna come over here into this ditch and we're gonna see exactly what the Yamaha is gonna do when you get into a really off-camber situation like this. Now for this, I am in 4-wheel drive, diff lock, low gear, and I'm just really kind of letting the machine work. So that was a pretty gnarly off-camber situation, some washouts. We might just adjust this just a hair. One of the things you'll notice with the Yamaha doors is there's no handles on the outside. In my opinion, I really like that, because if your handles are on the outside, you get in an off-camber situation, you rub up against a tree, you know, your door handle is pretty much getting busted. And then also, if you're in a lot of mud, it's going to get caked up with mud. The inside door handle, I think, is a really good fit and finish. It's clean, and you don't have to worry about it getting busted up. It really comes down to what you like as a rider and a passenger. My wife loves this machine to ride in it. It's comfortable. You know, you've got a nice grab bar here when you're cruising down the trail. The soft touch points in the cab here for driver and passenger are another thing. You got one on the door, you got one right here. You have adjustable seat belts, so if you want this up higher, so if it's on your shoulder, you want to go up higher, you want to come down lower, so that way it's a little bit more comfortable. It really doesn't bother me to have this shoulder bolster getting in and out, and the nice thing about this is if you do lay it over, your shoulder is going to lay on this, not on the ground or rocks or whatever else you're laying over on. So this is here to protect you and to keep you in the unit and to keep you from getting hurt. So there's a couple ways that Yamaha can save some money on this unit, and that's just maybe taking out some things that you may not use, like the key switch right here, the 25-mile-an-hour key switch. That does not come with the X2 1000. That is an option. Same way with like the D mode, that's an option. Those little things that where they can shave off $100 or $200 at a time helps them to keep the price point down, because honestly, I can tell you right now, I've had all kind of Yamahas with that key and I've never used it. So to me, I really don't need it. But if you want it, if you're working at a construction site and they have the speed limit restricted, you know, you can get that key and put it in there. Your air filter is easy to get to, easy to clean. And then behind this firewall here, there's 5 pigtails that you can plug in for accessories. Your D mode switch can plug into that. Our juicer here for our windshield plugs into that. You can plug other accessories into that. Lights, different things, but it's 20 amp for all of them combined. When you're trying to back up a trailer at night, or you want to see what's going on behind you when you're backing up on a trail system, the backup lights on the X2 1000 are really nice. You wouldn't really think that would make much of a difference, but I'm telling you what, at night in the dark when you're trying to back up, those lights really do a good job. They're nice and bright. We're gonna shoot up this big hill over here with the Yamaha Ultramatic transmission. It's really amazing how you can be out trail riding, come to a big hill and not have to put it in low. You can keep it in high gear. And there's a few machines on the market that are gonna tell you that you need to be in low gear or you're gonna burn the belt up. And with the Yamaha, you just don't have to do that. And then also, you know, it's got the 10-year belt warranty. So, you know, some people are like, well, you know, I want to run a Honda because I don't have to use a belt. Well, with a 10-year belt warranty, you don't need to worry about burning a belt up. One question I did get a lot is the cab heat. We drove this thing at Hatfield-McCoy and it was like upper 60s. It might have been 70, and we really didn't notice much cab heat at all, even with the glass windshield. The only time I noticed cab heat is when I had it in low gear and we were doing a really big, long, steep climb on a black trail. I thought it was more difficult than what it was, and I put it in low gear, and it really turned out just to be like a big, steep climb. That was the only time I noticed that it got warmer, got a little bit more cab heat. It's not like one of those things like right now, it's kind of a cool day. I mean, I don't know, low 50s, high 40s. And it's not like when you're driving this, you're like, oh man, that heat feels good. You know, you don't feel it warming you up. So I don't think the cab heat is too bad, even with a windshield. Now, I don't know when it gets to be summer. That's something that, you know, we're gonna have to keep on checking out. So there's really only 2 things about this machine that I would even and this is being really picky, that I would even remotely like to see changed a little bit, I guess you would say. Number one, the turning radius. I would like to see it turn a little bit tighter, but I know why Yamaha does that, because it's such a short wheelbase. You can't have it turn too tight or people will be flipping them over. I get that. I'm just looking at my wish list, you know, something I'd like to see. The next thing would be maybe a little bit quieter. Is it too loud? No. But I would like to see it maybe just a tad quieter, which really, realistically, it's not bad. I've ridden in machines that are way worse. But you can look at it like this too. 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be like, man, you remember the good old days when the machines actually sounded like something? Like, and that's the thing about this one. It's a little throaty. It has a little bit of a throaty sound to it. So you do get a little bit of a growl. And I like that. It's cool. It's not too much of a growl. But sometime down the road, people are going to be looking back saying, man, when we had engines and it had that throaty growl, that was awesome. Because everything's going to be electric, you ain't going to hear nothing. Maybe you're just living in the good old days, because someday it's going to be all electric, baby, and you ain't going to have no growl. I got to tell you, just my personal opinion, I really do enjoy this machine. I think this machine is tough to beat. It is so solid, it is so well built, and you just have that confidence factor whenever you are off-roading and you do get into a situation where you're in a washout and you feel it just kind of pitching a little bit on you. You don't really panic or freak out. And this machine, I'm telling you right now, that stuff that I was in earlier, like the ditch and the step up on the rocks, that was way worse than what it looked like on camera. You know, I hear Yamaha talk about this all the time. You know, Pat and those guys and Nessel and everybody there at Yamaha and Scott Newby, all those guys, they talk about confidence inspiring. And sometimes you hear that and you just think that's marketing BS. And I didn't really understand what they were saying until you get out and you start driving the machine. Basically a baby RMAX is what this is. It's not as big of a machine, so if you're looking for a machine that's not as big but you have the same power plant, man, I'm telling you what, this is a winner. This is a home run. I give this thing definitely top props and a high score, because, you know, really after riding a lot of other machines out there and driving them, there's a certain factor when it comes to the quality of a machine when you're building it and you want to put it out there for your customers. And I know of a couple other manufacturers, and I'm not even going to throw any shade. I'm not here to mention any other names, but they just don't build the quality that Yamaha builds in this machine. Because we had our X2 850s and we had them in the rental fleet, and we had 7,000 miles on them when we got rid of them. At that point, there was still no squeaks, creaks, rattles, or anything like that. There's some other machines, some other manufacturers that you don't even get 100 miles on them and they're squeaking and creaking and rattling, and you're replacing stuff and you're breaking down and you're changing belts, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So basically it comes down to, do you want a really good, reliable machine? That's your question to answer. But for me, I've seen a lot of vehicles over the years, and this one here is very impressive. And I would say what you need to do is you need to go drive one yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Don't take other social media or other media's words for it. You know, get out there and drive one for yourself. You know, get behind the wheel. You know, try, and if a lot of times they have demo rides, get out there and put that thing through its paces in the demo course that they give you. You know, sometimes they let you get in some off-camera positions. They let you get out there and let her eat a little bit. You know, those are the kind of things you got to take advantage of. Or if you have a buddy that has one, drive it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And it's really going to come down to your personal preference, how big you are, what kind of driving style you have, what you're looking for out of a machine. You know, for me personally, I just think it's a home run. So you got to go check it out for yourself. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Have a good one.